Good morning, everybody. My name is AJ Lim, and today I will be presenting to you a project that I had developed called the Automated Outlook Email Sender. So, what exactly is the Automated Outlook Email Sender? Well, in a nutshell, it's a Python script that goes through an Excel sheet that has a list of email addresses and sends a uniform email to each and every email address in that list of contacts. That's what it does, in a nutshell. But what can it do for you? Well, in the modern age, a lot of jobs involve sending repetitive emails to several different contacts, and these might have to be done manually. Hypothetically speaking, you might be a sales representative that has to send promos and flyers to several different contacts in a given day. You might have to manually type these emails down and manually attach the promo or the flyer to the email before sending it, and then repeating the process with the next email contact. That can be wearisome. And I should know because I also experienced the same kind of tasks at work, and that's why I developed this project in order to make things easier for me. Essentially, you can use this software to send to several different contacts with minimal intervention at your end. And I imagine that might be very, very helpful for some people. So with all that said and done, there are some things you're going to have to install in order to run the automated Outlook email sender. And we can go through a list of that right now. Firstly, you need to install Python. You can either install directly from their website or you can install via Microsoft Store. And then next you need to install Outlook Classic, not Outlook New. Unfortunately, the automated Outlook email sender does not work on Outlook New, so you'd need to download Outlook Classic if you do not already have it installed in your computer right now. Now, another thing you're going to have to install, which I think most people already have in their computer if you run Windows as your operating software, is Excel. And then you would also need an IDE. Ideally, the IDE should be Visual Studio Code, which you could also install directly from their website. You would also need some Python modules you need to install Pandas, OpenPixel, and Pywin32. Pywin32 especially since this is what helps Python interact with Outlook. So, now that we have installed everything that we need in order to run the automated Outlook email sender, how do we go about using it? Well, the first thing we're going to need is a list of email addresses that we plan to send to, and we need to put it in an Excel sheet. I so happen to have a sample of such a file on my computer right now. Maybe you have some similar files in your own place of work to keep track of all of the emails that you send to, or maybe it's a list of your clients that you continuously add to if for example you're a salesperson. So you might have a similar kind of file at work right now. So you can just use the same kind of file. You just have to trim it down a bit so that it would only be at least 3 columns. But we're going to need to change that file a little bit in order to be able to use the automated Outlook email sender. So you need to add a status column. So what is the status column for? I'll explain more in detail later what exactly this is for. For now, this is fine. So the emails that you see right now aren't real emails. They're temporary emails that are generated on websites like this. Now I generated a new email for us to be able to see the automated Outlook email sender in action. So I'm going to add this here, and then I'm going to say that the company of this this email is Sample Company D, and the name of the addressee is Rusty Load. Okay, so that should be fine. Now, so what is the status column for? Let's say, for example, that you don't want to send to these 3 emails. Hypothetically, maybe you've already sent an email to this email address already, and it would be redundant to send them another one. Maybe you're also aware that this email is no longer active, and maybe this email, the addressee is just a person you plain don't like and you don't want to send them emails. Well, there are keywords programmed into the software of the automated Outlook email sender in order to kind of prevent it from sending to certain emails via the status column. And these keywords are sent, dead, and exclude. Now that these keywords are placed in the row of the status column for these emails, the automated Outlook email sender will not send to these emails if it's being run by you. Now, if you want to send to an email, you may simply leave the row of the status column empty. So we want to send to Rusty Load, so we're going to leave the status column empty. So now that I've explained the Excel sheet portion of this guide to use the automated Outlook email sender, I'm going to go ahead and click save to save the email addresses we have on our Excel sheet. And then I'm going to show you how to set up the automated Outlook email sender on Visual Studio Code and then proceed to run it. Now, what exactly is Visual Studio Code? Well, Visual Studio Code is an integrated development environment, an IDE to shorten. IDEs are used by software developers in order to write code, and in your case, you're going to use this to run the automated. So what are the things that we're going to need to set up in Visual Studio Code? Don't be overwhelmed. Well, the first two things have a lot of the file path, Python knowledge in order to run sheet. The automated file path is basically the location of our Excel sheet. Have to open the folder in our computer. Look for file the path Python file is the name of the sheet of our Excel sheet. And where our email addresses are located in my projects folder. So in the folder, let's first get the file path. Automated dash simply navigate to the folder. Open this where folder your Excel sheet is located. It should pop right click on it and copy as this is the Python file. Paste it here of the automated Outlook email sender. These red. We're gonna need quotation marks a little bit. Next, we need the sheet over name here. In my case, the name of my sheet is just sheet 1. Place it also in between these two quotation marks, and then that should be set up over there. So now that that's been set up, we're gonna go down to line 71 and 72 as well as line 107 and 108 to set up the email addresses that we want copied in the emails that we are going to be sending, as well as the subject of the email that we're going to be sending. So hypothetically, maybe your supervisor needs to be copied in emails that you want to send. You can place it over here. So as an example, I'm going to place my own personal work email here to copy myself into the emails we send. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to put the subject, hello world, as an example. Then we copy paste this in line 107 and also in line 108. We paste that there. Okay. And that should be the end of the setup on Visual Studio Code. We control save to save, and now we can proceed with running the file on Visual Studio Code. So now that we've done everything we needed to do in order to run the automated Outlook email sender, we can now proceed with actually running it via Visual Studio Code. Now, how do we go about doing that? Well, you simply go to the upper right of the interface of Visual Studio Code and click on the rightward facing arrow. So let's go ahead and click on that, and the user interface of the application should pop out. Now, you can see that there are 3 buttons to the top left of the application and a giant text space in the center. I'll explain more about the buttons later on into the video, but for now I'll talk about the text space. Now, what is the text space for? Essentially, the text space is for the body of the emails that you plan to send. Now, do you simply type hi and then the rest of your message here, like hello world? No, unfortunately you do not do that. But I will be teaching you exactly on how you're going to make use of this text space. So you're going to have to go to Outlook itself and then create an email. Click new email. Send to yourself, like what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to use my own email to send to myself, and I'm going to type hi, hello world. Best regards, comma, AJ. And then I'm going to send to myself. Okay. And then we should receive it in a bit. If it doesn't, then I will just refresh. There. And then we're going to right click on this and click on view source. Okay. And then we're going to copy paste all of this in the file email.txt and then paste it here on the text space on the application. So what exactly did I copy paste onto the Outlook email sender's text space? Well, in order to understand what exactly I did, you need to understand that majority of modern emails are comprised of HTML. HTML is the building blocks of all websites on the internet. So, when you go to Outlook and you right click on view source, what you're actually looking at is the inner elements of the email itself. Matter of fact, you can actually see the body of the email over here on the email.txt file. See? Hi, hello world, best regards, and my own name. So essentially, when we're copy pasting everything on the email.txt file on to the text space of the Outlook email sender's application, essentially we're just copying the body. So now, what are the buttons on the top left for? Let's start with the refresh button. So let's say hypothetically that we are updating our list of emails that we're going to send. Let's say maybe I want to add my own emailer, sales.2.mfii@mercuryfreight.com.ph. I'm going to leave the row of the status column empty, write my own name, AJ Lim, and my company, which we can say is Sample Company M, just because I like the letter M. And then we control save, and then put this away, and then click refresh. What did that do? Well, basically, the refresh button is for the purposes of making sure that the application is able to be aware that we had updated our list of email addresses on the Excel file that we are using. In a nutshell, that's exactly what the refresh button is for. So example, you want to update your list of emails that you want to send. you need to save the Excel sheet and click the refresh button afterwards to make sure that you don't miss the emails that you had added. So, what are the other two buttons for? Well, the draft button is exactly as it says. When you click it, it will generate a draft for each recipient that we have on the list of email addresses that we want to send to, at least the ones that are eligible for it. And then we can use that opportunity to double check whether our email is correct, whether the recipient is correct, whether the email addresses that we want copied in the email is correct, whether the subject is correct, and whether the body is correct. So I'm going to demonstrate to you right now how exactly that works. When you click it, you will have a note saying that please double check your drafted emails before sending. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So we're going to go to Outlook, and as you can see, for each eligible recipient that we have on our list of email addresses, which is Rusty Load and myself included, an email draft is generated. So we check the bodies, we check the copied emails, we check the subject, and we check the body. And you can see that it's correct. That means that the emails that we are sending are perfectly fine, and we can proceed with clicking the send button. So what does the send button do exactly? Well, when you click on the send button, it'll give you a warning to double check your emails before you proceed with sending. This is because if you click yes, it will start sending emails in an automated fashion to each eligible email address that we have on this list. For example, if we had clicked yes, it will first send to Rusty Load, wait a minute, and send to the next email after that, wait another minute, and send to the next email after that if there is another email. So you have to be very careful. That's why this warning is here, because once it starts sending, there's no going back. So we're going to go ahead and proceed, and we're going to click yes. So we're going to click allow to allow the emails to start sending for us. And you can see it's already starting to send. You can see the outbox highlight. And if we check our sent items, you can see that the emails have sent to Rusty Load and to my own email over there. Now we can even check the inbox of our temporary email. We're going to refresh here, and we should have it pop up, and there it is. There's the email right from us as well. So that is a demonstration of the Outlook email sender that I had developed for the purposes of making sending emails a lot easier. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I hope that you were able to understand my explanation for how to use it, and if not, feel free to refer to my README file for this application on my GitHub page that I will post a link to on the description of this video. And yeah, I hope this little application I developed helps you as much as it helped me. Thank you, and have a good night.